This video real quick.
Let's go.
You were tuned in to episode 142. 142. Goodfellas podcast. Your boy G5 Jeff TV, aka G5, aka 5, aka the Guru. Got my main man with me, BoxingFirstVlog, aka the General, aka Blunt, aka Blunt Bayless, aka Mr. 1K. What's going on, bro?
Oh man, just living life, you know what I mean? Rolling with the punches.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Big shout out to everybody, man. We coming off of a big weekend of fights, man. And big shout out to VP Shane. I'm pretty sure he'll be in here in a couple minutes. We're also going to be reaching out to Rob Acosta. He might be jumping in here as well. So we won't be on here too long today, but we definitely going to cook up for sure. Before we get started, y'all know the drill. If you can hear me, if you can hear Vlog, put a 1 in the comment section. And then we gonna get cooking. We're gonna get cooking for sure. Oh, the intro. That's one of we gonna do another intro, but that's one of the intros for the podcast. Vlog and I'll probably collab on the other one. You know what I'm saying? Give you a little versatility. You know what I'm saying? Just adding something a little different. You know what I mean? So, but we had
we deserve the influence, bro.
Nah, that's a fact. That's definitely a fact. That's a fact, man. We had big, huge weekend of fights. David Morrell Jr. big victory over Ados. He's in a medically induced coma right now, with a brain bleed. So thoughts and prayers go out to him. Family, loved ones, and as cruel as this sport is, I mean it. I don't mean to sound like harsh, but this is something that could happen. When you're actually fighting. You know what I'm saying? I have personal experience with that because my guy Big Tree, Tree James, he had a brain bleed. They ended up doing surgery and he was able to, recover that way, but with Ados, he they had to put him in a medically induced coma. You know what I'm saying? So, definitely thoughts and prayers go out to him, man. We got official family in the building, man. My guy Bruce Gaz in the building, man. Big shout out to him, man. One of the best channels out there. Definitely go subscribe to him. That's a must. That's a definite. Yeah, it's unfortunate to see, a guy, be able to, not go home to his family after a fight, no matter how the fight goes, and hopefully he'll be okay. But I'll save my opinion. But what did you think that fight got stopped too late?
Bro, I'm gonna be totally honest, bro. We need a new crop of referees. We need a new crop of referees, bro. These referees, it's almost like these dudes accepting money to act a certain way during some fights. You know what I mean? Let's take the main event fight. Yes, that fight should have been stopped. That's on the ref. That's on his corner. That's on a few people. That's on him. That's on him too. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know your body better than anybody else. You got to know what's going on with you is not normal. The fight through it situation is not good. That's like saying, okay, you twist your ankle, you threw your shoulder out or something, fight through it. No, bro, certain injuries, it's time to shut the party down. You feel what I'm saying? So that's on a lot of people, but the more ones in control, being the ref in the corner, yes. And speaking on the ref, the cat, Chinesian, the ref in his fight, oh my God, bro. I hadn't seen such bad refereeing since the Jack Reese debacles of refereeing that he was doing consistently in fights. Like, this dude let that guy tie up so much, it was ridiculous. And then he's blaming it on Gallimore. I'm like, how is you blaming Gallimore and dude got his arm wrapped? He's saying Gallimore is reaching around. No, he's being pulled in. What is like this? There's referees. We just got changed referees, bro. And what happened to the main event dude and Adas Bostonilli, this dude, Yar Bostonilli, however, you know, struggling with the names, but I mean, well, that being said, bro, that's on his corner. That's on that ref. That's on almost the commission. Because if you have a nosebleed from the second round that never stopped, not even in the corner, could they get that thing to stop consistently? Where though they could actually talk to this dude and maybe, you know, interject some information to him. That all they was doing was working and putting cotton and holding the cold compress on him. Bro, the dude was in trouble. Second of all, his accuracy was totally off. So if you want to say, let's give a puncher a chance, you got to give me a puncher that's actually able to land. This dude was not landing consistently throughout the fight. He was not landing consistently. Like, whereas though, okay, one of these is going to be that one that gets him back in the fight and we can turn this thing around. Bro, it was just terrible all the way around, bro. It was terrible all the way around. And I feel bad for anybody that took that fight and took Morrell to get the knockout, because it shouldn't have been a knockout via that route, like a real KO. That, you know what I mean? That wasn't even a TKO. That was a straight knockout. You shouldn't have been able to get that. If he got a knockout, it should have been a TKO, and it should have been stopped by an official, somebody of clout, somebody of pull, somebody that's using their third eye to judge what's going on, bro. Come on, man, that was terrible, bro. That's a turnoff for boxing, bro. They got to understand that. It reminded me what happened with Ray Mercer and Tommy Morrison. Like, do you know the damage he took in that particular fight in itself? Because that referee was in the wrong position, wasn't strong enough to get Ray Mercer off of him once he realized this fight needs to be stopped. He didn't even have the strength to get Ray Mercer off of Tommy Morrison. We need a whole batch of referees. We might need a younger crop of referees that are a little bit more schooled, you know, longer schooling through a training process to be refereeing combat sports at this high level. Come on, bro. That was terrible refereeing, bro, all across the board. That wasn't the only fight. You know what I'm saying? That was the fight I spoke of earlier. There's been a couple fights just off the PBC card. You know what I'm saying? Come on, bro. This shit is terrible going on in the sport. I mean, and dude he sleeps somewhere because they making bad judgments. They not knowing and reading the action that's in front of them, man. You know what I mean? I feel bad for old boy, because that might be the end of his career when he could have just took the loss, healed up from taking a couple bad shots early. Okay, my dude ain't got it.
Ados.
Yeah, Ados. He
may not make.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, just but in general, like let's say the worst outcome with him being healthy, with him not being able to fight anymore, but yet he's still healthy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's still not a bad. That's still a worse outcome. Now he's not able to earn an income based on something he's trained so long to do, blah, 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 because his people didn't make the right judgments and saying, okay, my guy is eating some clean shit. I ain't seen him taking shots like this before. I don't think he's ready for this. Because obviously his competition had not been at David Morrell's level for him to be experienced enough to be able to land on slick. I ain't gonna say Morrell's the slickest guy, but he's decent. He knows how to move defensive, great. You know what I mean? We just don't see it that much in big guys like that. So we don't really call big guys super slick like that. So he's definitely got some defensive wizardry about him. And you have to read that information. My guy's not landing. I mean, this dude literally probably missed 8 punch combinations countless times throughout the fight. Countless times throughout the fight.
Yeah. My guy, my boxing son in the building, man, Chris G. Say, yo, what's going on, Chris? My guy, Michael Johnson in the building, man. Say, what up, man? Big shout out to you, bro. Bruce, Mike. Yeah, I just to go to the David Morrell fight. I hear what you're saying as far as the fighter needs to know when to hang it up, but that's why you had that old phrase. You gotta have the referees and you gotta have the corner there to save the fighter from themselves. You know,
yeah, I agree with that.
When they in the moment.
But at the same time, let me add this: the people can't save you if you're not giving them the information.
Well, I think if you are a referee, and if you're a referee,
or and you can help the people save you by giving them the information, like say your corner. You can even talk to the ref.
To be honest with you, bro, the last person I'm looking to stop to give data is the fighter. I know
that.
No, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, but we're still intelligent animals. You know what I mean?
But when you in that when you in that moment and these dudes
when you in the trenches, I know.
Yeah, when you willing to die in there, man. So you take the referee, and I know you're gonna agree with everything I'm getting ready to say because I ain't saying nothing new. The referee is trained to go through proper channels to determine whether a fighter can continue or not. He can make his own judgment. He could have stopped the action and say, "Hey, Doc, come take a look." That didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? The corner, nobody knows their guy more than the corner. That could have been the case as well. There was just some telltale signs for me where I'm just like, at least let the doc look at him. Now, I didn't watch it and say like, yo, I think he has a major injury or a brain bleed or something like that. There's really no way you can really, like tell. But there's enough professionals. There's enough.
He can. He can.
Who can?
Adolf can.
But again, you're asking the fighter to do that. You understand what I'm saying? You're asking the fighter to do that. There's
bro. Again, that's why I keep saying I wanted to add that some of the blame does go on him because that's a situation where no one can tell but you unless you deliver the information. Then okay, they're seeing how.
Bro, you can't, bro. I don't think that's fair, bro.
I think it's fair because
fair.
You can't,
bro. Ask any fighter.
I think it's fair. Hold up. I think it's fair because of this reason. Back in the day, you remember we used to carry around the boom boxes, right?
Mm-hmm.
The LL Cool J's. Remember that, right? Well, you probably don't. You're a young buck. We at Hunter Park, right up in the right in the hood where you live at right now. I grew up in that neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? There in North Philly, or down north. So anyway. We at Hunter Park. The Bulls walk up on the homie and my crew, and we sitting there, and the oldest cat, his name was Eric, it was his radio. The dope bull was like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Give me your radio. He was like, well, you could fight for it. You know what I mean? So the dude wanted to squab him. We wanted to jump up and fight. But the bull was like, yo, you can't defend nobody that ain't willing to defend themselves. So when I equate that to this scenario, I can't come to your defense if you're not giving me the information to help me defend. So that's like saying you're defending yourself by getting this information to your corner, like, yo, I'm not feeling right upstairs. You know what I'm saying? Like, just same way Tree knew he wasn't feeling right upstairs and they was able to go handle business. I think that same scenario could have took place because his corner would have, okay, your fighter. My fighter's giving me some new information.
bro. But it's kind of like and I don't want to give the impression that I don't understand what you're saying, because I do. Boxers are, and you can agree with this. Boxers are screwed in the head. They're not normal. You know what I'm saying? Like boxers, what you explained is logical thinking. Boxers don't have logical thinking in that ring, and the reason why where they have to be, a boxing ring has to be surrounded by professionals. So even before they get in the ring, bro, just follow me on this. Even before they get in the ring, the inspectors, they're supposed to be professionals in a certain sense. When you get in the ring, you got, you got your ringside doctor, he's supposed to be a professional. You got the ambulance crew that's there, they supposed to be professionals. Your corner's supposed to be professionals. Let me throw this at you real quick. Even with Figueroa, like he was in a fight and had nobody in his corner, and they allowed it. Like, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of just like goofy stuff going on. I just think I would, if I had to point blame, number one is the corner. The corner gets the top blame. Number two is the referee. And that's kind of where my blame really stops at, man. It shouldn't even have got to the point to where the fighter had to make a decision for themselves, man. Like I just think they should have stopped that fight way before it happened. Let me introduce my guy, man, VP Shane in the building, man. What's going on, bro?
What's up? What we talking about?
We talking about the David Morrell Ados fight, man. We just discussing like should have been stopped prior. Did you see any telltale signs for them to stop the fight early?
The issue is, you know what I find more depressing? We're having less conversations of premature stoppages. I remember my early days watching boxing, I remember watching a lot of fights which we would argue, oh, that was a premature stoppage. That was a premature stoppage. When was the last time we had a conversation about a ref stopping a fight prematurely?
It's been a while.
And that's a problem, because not only that shows the direction in which the sport is moving. The sport is becoming almost more tolerable for these one-sided, because at some point you have to look, can your fighter even win the fight? And I mean, I'm one of the last people to slate a referee for premature stoppage. There's been a few occasions when I've done it, but the first thing I heard Jeff say when I actually came on live was the fact that it shouldn't even get down to the ref to be making the decision, or the fighter himself making that decision. There is two people in place. There's the main cornerman and then the referee. Sorry. For me, personally speaking, it's the cornerman that really should be throwing in the towel. And I'll give you two occasions where we've seen the cornerman throw in the towel, and there's of recent as well. And they have been more slander towards the cornerman for throwing in the towel than we've seen for when referees and cornermen let the fight go on too long. And one of them is Sean Porter versus Crawford, where Kenny Porter got a lot of slander for that. And the other one is Deontay Wilder.
I know that's where
Tyson Fury. And my issue is what direction are we moving in as a sport? What direction are we moving in? Because it seems to me we're moving in a direction where we're starting to become a lot more accepting for these one-sided fights. And if that's the case, then fine. But then we're not having the conversations of that's a premature stoppage, which basically means 9 times out of 10 fights are going on longer than they should be, because no one is actually calling it. And The cornerman don't want to throw in the towel because he doesn't want to be the one in the wrong, and the ref doesn't want to throw in the towel because he doesn't want to be in the one in the wrong. And the truth is, no one's actually taken the fighter's safety in hand. And I'll say this: if a father can't throw in a towel for his fighter, and he's still getting slander for that, then we've lost. We've lost, bro. We've lost.
Yeah.
That David Morrell situation. To be fair, you know, how many times are we gonna? We're probably gonna see this 50 times. There's probably gonna be 50 more. What did they say? Premature stoppages. What's the opposite of premature? There's going to probably be the ratio of premature stoppages to late stoppages, or stoppage being too late, is probably 5-1. You're probably going to get 5 stoppages where the referee should have called it earlier than to 1 premature stoppage, which means we're moving in a direction where there's going to be a lot more fights going on longer than they should be.
Yeah, we got my man Tree in the building, man. Big shout out to Tree. He said agreed. He said we are not. I think he was talking about when I say fighters aren't normal, like they don't think logically. Michael Johnson said the ones that will lay down like Billy Saunders are logical thinkers. The ones that keep getting up are warriors. Yeah, it's yeah, I definitely
no, but that for me again, I think the fans are to blame in both scenarios. Because
why you say the fans?
Because the fans are the first one to criticize someone for quitting. The fans are the first one to criticize a coach for throwing in the towel because they didn't get their appetite wasn't full of physical affliction. You know, they wasn't satisfied. You know, what do they say? You know, when you've had a full meal and you feel full, you know, their thirst for blood wasn't quenched. So therefore,
hey, bro, this is not the Spartan arena, bro. This ain't the gladiator arena, bro. This is modern day gladiatorship, and this shit come with rules. This shit come with you being a factor and you having to take accountability for what you're allowing yourself to go through. So when I spoke on the fighter is a partial to blame in this scenario, because if this situation happened in his brain, he's the first one that's going to know. So if he felt,
we're going to criticize him for not continuing. Fans are going to criticize him.
No, he's saying that he's saying the fighter is to blame.
I'm saying the fans are to blame.
I'm not disagreeing with that, because I get your aspect. You know, there's a bunch of sheep we dealing with, so you know what I mean. They,
bro,
you know,
at times that said Anderson Silva took a dive. That's what people are actually saying, bro. Fans are saying that Anderson Silva took a dive, bro.
But we said
because they don't know what the word dive means.
They don't even know what dive means. I don't. Let me say this real quick, because I don't disagree with neither one of y'all, right? And I feel like it's a fine line what we're talking about. And I love talking to my guys, because I always get to the middle of the street with them, no matter how much we yell before we get to the middle of the street. I got a real great example, yo. So remember the fight with Beterbiev and Marcus Brown?
Yeah.
Right? I gotta wait till Blunt get back in his executive chair for this.
I'm with you, man. I can hear you.
Okay.
I'm about to listen down the queen.
Okay, no problem. So you take Beterbiev and Marcus Brown, right? And Marcus Brown took a knee, and Shane and I jumped on the podcast that Monday, and Shane and I said the exact same thing, Vlog. A lot of people were saying that Marcus Brown quit. I said, if you actually watch that fight, I said his body physically couldn't take no more, and he knew it. Right? Correct, Shane?
Facts. You can physically see the pain in his face.
You can see the physical pain. So in that example, Blunt, that's where your theory comes in. He knew it. He took a knee. He tried to get himself together and get up, and he could not get up. Right.
And what
So,
happened?
right. And that's the thing. Like he got demoed. He got demoed.
No, but,
You know
no,
what I'm
but
saying?
what happened after he didn't get up?
After the fight, that leads to your point, Shane. Everybody said that he quit. Everybody said that he quit. Now, going to my point, I felt like Marcus Brown shouldn't have even got to that point. That fight should have been stopped 2 to 3 rounds earlier. So you see how one fight, all 3 of our points are getting touched?
Of course.
I'll give you another example. And it's crazy because you don't know. We had these shows and we don't know where it's going to go. I'm going to give you another example. Take Floyd, Diego Corrales. This mofo got knocked down 7 times. 7 times.
You have no chance of winning.
There's have no chance
of winning.
You have no chance of winning. He got knocked down 7 times. And let's go to Blunt's point. He gets knocked down 7 times. The trainer throws in the towel. He jumps up and down like he just ran off 4-round street and he close on the cards. That's an example to where Blunt has a point. You know what I'm saying? So then, Shane, you go to your point. People are actually like, yo, Diego Corrales, he showed heart. Da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, their energy is misguided because I'm like, the trainer actually did the right thing. Because I'm like, it probably would have led to brain damage or whatever. Because when you're taking shots like that and you just can't stand up to save your life, you know what I'm saying? Like he kept on getting up.
That's why, and I love Wilder, but that's why Wilder is almost I don't care what anyone says. Wilder's a hypocrite, bro. Wilder is a hypocrite. And I'll tell you why Wilder's a hypocrite, bro.
Talk to me.
You can't preach and not practice, bro. Bro, you can't be Bible bashing and still sinning on the same day, bro. You can't be crying because boxers, and I genuinely feel your pain, bro. Boxers are risking their life on the line. But when someone put your life in their hands and decided to save you, bro, you can't then criticize that individual, bro. Whether he was right or wrong for doing it, or whether he felt like you could continue or not. That's his judgment, and maybe the judgment was wrong, but he had the right intentions, bro. You have to practice what you preach. Breland, whatever you want to say, whether he was right or wrong, he done it with the right intentions, bro.
What you think about that, Blunt?
You're on mute, bro.
I agree with that. I was saying these fighters need to take accountability for the difficulty. Like, let's say like a fighter, no, I'm 6 rounds down, bro. I ain't got a shot of hell in winning. Start communicating that with your corner and maybe let's get on up out of here. Let's call it. Like, what is the reason to take 2 more rounds? Let's say it's an 8-round fight. You down 6 rounds of nothing. You ain't got no knockouts on your record. You ain't never known from coming from behind. What's the reason for taking another 10 minutes, 9 minutes, 8 minutes, 6 minutes worth of damage? It doesn't make any sense to me. These fights should be called by the corner, the fighters, and the referees before unnecessary damage takes place, especially in such lopsided contests.
Go on.
I feel like I said, there's too many quote unquote professionals in and around the ring.
They say too much
for the like, it's kind of like in football when a guy has a concussion. They know nothing else but to lie and get back on the field.
Right.
They know nothing but to lie and get back on the field.
But I'm gonna give you two. I'm gonna give you 2 examples, bro. For what in fact, I want to say something first because Blunt has alluded to this before, and I've even been victim to this as well. Whereas we see someone like Devin Haney, and we criticize Devin Haney for not. Many people criticize Devin Haney for taking the smart approach, and Blunt is always praised Devin Haney for shutouts, 12-0, and people are asking for this dude to get knockouts, etc. And Blunt's always praised him for being a disciplined boxer. I mean, to a certain degree, the nigga's putting his his health and safety first. So he's doing the right thing by putting his health and safety first. He can go out there and bang with a dude and end up getting brain damage. Instead, he's actually putting his health and safety first. So I think fans also, in another sense, need to stop criticizing boxers for being boxers and actually taking the element of defense into consideration also. But what I wanted to say was there was a fight, and I actually just remembered this fight whilst we were talking. And I remember Martin Bakoli versus Michael Hunter. And Martin Bakoli openly wanted to quit. You know, he sat on his stool, and after the round, the bell's ringing to go on, and he doesn't want to get up. And his coach forces him up off his stool to fight, bro. And I'm like, bro, your dude's telling you he doesn't want to continue. And instead of you throwing in the towel and saying that's enough, you're forcing the dude off the stool to fight, bro.
Yeah, I agree with that. That happened in a female fight too, maybe 2 years ago, and that coach got heavily criticized. I will say this though. I think every single scenario, what Blunt explained, what Shane explained, what I explained, you see each of these scenarios like on a case-by-case basis. You know what I mean? You have the Bakoli fight where he's sitting in his stool. He's like, I don't want to get up. I'm cool. I don't have any more. You know what I'm saying? And he's forced out of his stool. Then you have a situation where, you know, a fighter knows that he has no shot. And it's kind of like you want the fighter to be like, okay, like, all right, let's pack it up. Let's get up out of here. But then you watch certain fights, right? You take Gotti Ward, all three of those joints. Not once, none of us was like, yo, they need to stop this shit. And this is why I say it's a case-by-case basis.
It's competitive, though, isn't it?
Because it's so competitive, right?
Fight.
And the one thing, neither one of them dudes was super heavy power punchers. So it wasn't like when they was trading punches, they was hitting each other with sledgehammers. Not that they shot probably didn't hurt. But what I'm saying, like you said, case-by-case basis, that might be a case where it's not risky power-wise to go back and forth, let these dudes duke it out medically, is what I mean. So that, like, I'm just saying, case-by-case, I think that might have been a reason why those slugfests were able to go on, even though dudes was bloody and that sort of scenario.
There's a line that I want to hear every coach say. And if a coach doesn't say this, I know you're not a good coach. And that is, you need to show me something. If a cornerman isn't saying that, then that cornerman needs to get deducted his pay.
Can I take it one step further before we get in these comments? I don't want them to get out of control. You know who else need to be saying that too? The referee.
Who?
The referee. The referee.
You need to show me.
And you hear the good referees. Son, you gotta show me
know
something.
what? I'm an analyst. I'm logical the way I think and break shit down. I switch it up on them. I'd ask them how you feeling. And if they tell me the opposite from what they showing me, this shit over. You see what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah, because they're gonna, whether they're okay or not, they're gonna tell you that they're okay. But if you say okay, fight, and the first thing they do is
but that's what I mean. But you see how you get the training. No, but you see how you can change the training to where as though fighters actually have input on physically what's going on with them, and they can actually communicate that with their coach, their corner, and not get reprimanded, so to speak. So if I ask you, yo, how you feeling? And you tell me, yo, I'm feeling something in my liver, like, yo, that body shot, you know, it nicked me. I can really be like, okay, well, let's see how I go this round. You know, you show me something, you know what I mean? Whoop-de-whoop. But I think communication got to be a bigger part of it. You got to start listening to the fighters, bro. These dudes got to start listening to their bodies.
Well, the thing about it is the fighters don't do neither. That's why you got to take it out of their hands. They don't do neither, bro. They don't, and that's just the reality of it. We would like for them to say, "Hey,
I can't deny
it," and all of that. Like, I think we need to stop.
But that's why Blunt said. That's why Blunt said, if you say something and your actions don't match, I think it's the actions, bro.
I agree.
If I say go out and show me something or how you feeling, and you say you're good, and I see you you trying to run around the ring and you can't walk, and I see you staggering, bro, nigga, this towel's in my hand and it ain't leaving, bro.
Right, and it's not enough.
Right,
It's not enough.
I got a
I
valid
blame the
question.
coach. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Can a doc stop it from the ring apron? I mean, not from the ring apron, but from the
they
side.
never do it though.
Can-
They never do it though.
I got
No,
that.
no, I
that.
don't know if they can.
No,
I'm
can.
thinking they may need to be called up.
It depends. It depends on the state. Depends on the athletic commission.
No, I'm pretty sure
in that
doctors can
process,
stop
hold
a
up,
fight at any stage, bro.
Shane, hold
That's
on, let
not
me
in every
finish.
state. That's not in every state, bro. It's not.
Let
not
me
in
let me
states.
in
Not
that
every state, bro.
in that
Go ahead.
process of y'all saying that y'all believe that they can in certain states. Is it based on the fact they need to be called up, or can they do it from their seating visual position?
Mm-mm.
No,
They have to be called up. They got to be called up. They got to be called up.
I need more power from the docs. So you got me
But see,
thinking
the
about
doc-
another angle.
So check
This a
this
medical
out,
dude.
though.
It's a medical
check
dude.
This out. Check this
You know
out,
what a
though.
car accident looked like, or the results from it, rather.
Yeah, but check this out, though. This is the thing. That doc, who hired the doc? I'll give you an example. I'm gonna tell you why I asked that. If a dude a favorite, if a dude is a favorite, Tyson Fury. Listen, Otto Wallen, that fight should have been stopped, bro. That fight should have been stopped. That fight should have been stopped. Nobody can tell me otherwise. He was allowed to continue because he was the house fighter.
Same thing with Badou Jack, bro.
Same thing with Badou Jack.
It was a Mayweather promotion show.
So there's gray areas with that. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm like, ultimately,
this shit gotta be fixed, man.
Bro, ultimately, the only person that shouldn't have a gray area is his coach. Because at the end of the day, he's getting paid regardless. He's getting paid regardless, and his fighter is getting paid. So there's less gray area with the coach than anybody else. The referee, they might be like, well, I don't want to take the blame for it.
And more importantly, bro, what's it called? A ref said this to me. He said this to my face. He said to me, bro. He didn't say bro, by the way, but he said the coach is with you every day. So when you start doing things that you don't normally do, the first person that's gonna pick up on that stuff is the coach, bro. When you start, your hands start to lower and your feet start to hold, you know, eventually the coach is gonna know something's wrong before I know something's wrong. This might be the first time I've ever seen you fight. So I don't know your natural body mechanism. Your coach sees you every single day. So if he starts seeing certain things mechanically isn't working the same way it works, the coach is supposed to pick that up first.
Yeah, and
any coach that tells me that it's the referee's job to stop a fight, that's not a good coach.
That's not. I feel like these coaches be watching too many Rockies and shit.
Literally.
You know what I'm saying? Real shit. Let me get in the comments real quick, man. Willie G in the building, man. So what's up, fellas, man? What's going on? Martha Rodriguez, what's going on with you, baby? Mike Staten, my guy in the building, man. He said, what's going on, family? Bivol's jab was like a stop sign, and Zerto kept running into it. Good win for Bivol. Do I smell undisputed in the future? We're going to get to that in a second, bro. The underrated darkness in the building, man. Salute to the brothers in the chat. Underrated, you got like 8 different shows on like 8 different topics and shit, bro. You be like all over the place, bro. Big shout out to you, man. Willie G, Bivol beats everyone in the division.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that, but we're gonna talk about it. Michael Johnson, he said, I can't blame it on fans.
I can.
Mike, okay, so I gotta
because I heard a lot of fans blaming Breland for Breland throwing in the towel. I heard a lot of fighters blaming Kenny Porter.
Hey, Shane, let me say this real quick. Hey, Mike, if you're listening, give us your opinion on Breland stopping the Wilder fight, and what was the other one, Shane? The
Sean Porter and Kenny Porter.
Sean Porter and Kenny Porter. Let us know what you think about those two, and then we'll have a better idea where you're at with it. And then we'll, you know what I'm saying, we'll get into it. Because that's kind of like, it's kind of like a general statement. So if you can answer those two for me, bro, appreciate it. underrated. He said, bro, Michael, salute. He said that's not being hypocritical. No, not at all. We just
No,
want more.
he's talking about what I said in reference to Wilder. And I'll tell you why it is being hypocritical, bro. Being hypocritical is speaking a certain thing and your actions being in complete contradiction into what you say. You can't speak something, and then when someone does something exactly the same as what you've spoken, you have a problem with it. The dude's done exactly what you have what you ask for people to do, and that's take consideration for fighters' health. This person has done that, and you now have a problem with it. That's
let me throw this at you, and this is for you and Michael Johnson. Now, the fact that Wilder told him never to stop a fight, does that sway your opinion any?
To me,
yes. Wilder told Breland to never throw in the towel.
That cements my argument even more.
Okay. Mike, what you think about that? Because I don't know if that's where you were going with it.
You can't ask for people to show a certain courtesy towards fighters who risk their life on the line, which was what he was pleading for. You know, we risk our life on the line as fighters, you know. So this person is acknowledging that you're risking your life on the line as fighters. He's taken that burden off your shoulders.
But
he's literally acted on exactly what you're saying.
But
you can't stand on one side of the street when just because it's now you're the person in question. That is a stupid thing to do.
Hey, Shane, but here's the thing though. This is why I say you can't leave it in the fighter's hands, because you got that. Like that, if you leave it up to him, he's gonna be in a casket inside of that ring. You know what I'm saying?
Of course, yeah. And that's a fact.
Yeah, hold on. Michael Johnson said hypocritical would be him saying don't throw in the towel on me, but saying they should have thrown in the towel for another fighter. Mike, listen, bro, listen. I don't remember the fight, but I do remember him being on a broadcast and he was like, "Yo, I think they should have stopped that fight." I don't, bro. When I remember the fight,
that's not hypocritical. That he's just saying for him. He's speaking for him. Don't throw in the towel for me. But he can speak what he believes for another scenario.
But then
that's not being hypocritical.
But this is the issue though with that, Blunt. My issue is
not what you saying, Shane. You're not wrong. I'm saying the way Mike described me. Mike described being hypocritical. That's kind of not the same scenario, because him saying don't throw in the towel for me is not saying I'm not worried about another fighter's health. That's just saying I'm not worried about my health.
I know, no. I wasn't even.
I hear you.
I wasn't even disagreeing with you, Blunt. What I was gonna say though, almost in addition to what you're saying, is it's not a matter of him saying don't throw in the towel in me. My issue is it is the criticism for someone taking your health and safety into consideration.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, he's wrong for getting or blaming Breland. He's wrong for that. I agree totally 110% with you, my dude. You spot on with that. That is a form of hypocriticism. That is totally a form of hypocriticism. The way Mike described it kind of isn't. And I hate to disagree with my guy Mike, because he usually be on point.
Mike. Yeah, we love Mike.
Yeah. And it's all
bro. So can we say? Let me read that again. Hypocritical would be if him saying don't throw in the towel on me, but saying they should have thrown in the towel for another fighter. Now, Mike, what I will say on that, let's just say, right, I'll give you an example, bro. So we can all agree that Wilder took more damage on against Fury than Sean Porter did against Terrence Crawford. Correct. So if Wilder gets on camera and say, yo, like they should have stopped the, like he should have, like threw in the towel for Sean Porter and Terrence Crawford, but for him who took a lot more damage, for him not to throw in the towel, then Yeah, if the damage is comparable, then I would say it's not. But if it's not even close, it's the damage between the two fights is not even close. It's not close.
Do y'all agree? Do you guys agree with quote with corners stopping it because they see that guy can't win? Like, let's just say he's getting beat up, but it's not. He ain't out there looking like God.
I would have more respect for it if it came from them.
Yeah, but I also want to, because I do feel like there is certain instances where you have to still draw the line. Like, for example, let's look at Zerdo and Bivol. I think we can all see after about 7 rounds, Zerdo's not winning this fight. I wouldn't tell the corner to throw in the towel.
No.
Even though he can't win the fight because he's just getting absolutely schooled, he isn't taking a sustained beating. And that's where I feel like health and safety needs to come into play. When that sustained beating starts to happen and that fighter starts to react physically in ways that he normally doesn't. And similarly to that card, we saw the Zelfa Barrett situation, which at some point I guess we're going to talk about, where we could clearly see someone's body physically couldn't continue, and should the towel have been thrown in earlier? Can you ask that question? I mean, again, I was watching that fight with my mother, and my mother was like, his legs are gone. I mean, I'm pretty sure my mother's not watched as much boxing as the corner man for Zelfa Barrett. But nobody doesn't throw in a towel. And that's Zelfa Barrett's dad. Zelfa Barrett's dad was in the corner.
Yeah. What that scenario reminds me of? They kind of similar, 2 different cards, but the scenario is similar. Both these fights were like catapulting fights for each fighter. So with that corners kind of staying, head fast into the opportunity, locked into this opportunity and kind of not wanting to throw it away, that's a detriment to the fighter physically. You know what I mean? To me, as a corner, you gotta just reposition your fighter to this spot again. If he got here this time, he can get here again without the wear and tear.
That is an amazing
I ain't gonna lie. I took Rakhimov, but I missed the fight. So that was something I was gonna catch today because I'm actually taking a day off from work. So
that is an amazing point, Blunt. And I'll tell you why it's such a good point,
bro. Let me tell you real quick, bro. I had $100 ticket and 5-1 odds on a 10-fight parlay. Guess who cost me my money? Andre Durrell, brother, because he would not take that fight distance. Like, my dude, why are you doing that? Like, goddamn, bro, the fight almost over, man. You trying to kill this motherfucker in the 10th round and shit, like, or the 9th round or whatever.
The irony.
Goddamn, bro.
Look at the irony,
bro.
Look at the irony.
I'm saying, but that was side note. I'm saying, I apologize, man. But that, I was a 5-1 ticket.
Now you know Shane's pain.
The irony. The irony. Literally, Anthony Durrell. This Durrell family starting to really
the Durrell family is really throwing.
The reason why Blunt said a good point is because I remember journalists telling me a lot of coaches are so emotionally invested in the fight that they actually forget their job. They forget their job is to protect the fighter. They just want to win so much that they actually forget their job.
Can I give you another example of, and I love this trainer, man. Remember Gabe Rosado's old trainer for the Triple G fight? Benny Briscoe.
I don't even remember.
Briscoe. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way like that should have went that long. Like, so some of the prominent trainers make the same mistake. That's why I agree with that. You know what I'm saying? That's why I agree with that. Like, they get caught up so much into the fight. Like, they literally was like, yo, he's gonna die. And that's what got him to get up and throw in the towel. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, but that's a fact.
Well, you know it's me, baby. I'm always coming up with them clutch points. People, it be going right over their head, but you know, I'll grab it for you.
Facts. Goose, big shout out to you, bro. It says salute family. Big shout out to you, Goose. He said, got word from Ado's peoples. He is stable now. Glad to see that. May he make full recovery and heal as soon as he can.
Keep running through your comments because we got a lot of comments to go through. Just keep running.
Appreciate that, Ghost. Willie G, Corrales Castillo, great example. Facts. Ghost, the commission, the ref, and the coach all messed up, and that brother might never fight again. Listen, man, like I said, man, them brain bleeds ain't nothing to play with for sure. Mike, he said if a fighter don't want to quit because of some fans, he ain't fighting for the right reasons.
No, but I get you.
I get that. No. I get that. Mike said, yes,
that right there supports my stance. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yo, Blunt is a walking billboard for himself, yo. Yo, I love it, yo. I love it, yo. Self-promotion at its finest, baby. Right. Mike said, yes, a doc can. They have to get with the ref. Yeah, that's what we were saying. Like the ref gotta signal the doc, and then the doc gotta make the call. But 9 times out of 10, the doc is in probably the house promoter's pocket. You know what I'm saying? They don't want no problems.
But
either.
Hold up, question. Doesn't that go against his ethics, though?
Ethics in boxing.
In boxing does not
in boxing, it don't exist.
I'm not talking about boxing ethics. I'm talking about his ethics of his profession to preserve life.
Yeah, but it's a judgment call though, so he'll never get pulled for it. It's a judgment call.
No, meaning he should have more input on it. Not to say he should judge it whether his judging is right or wrong, but just have more input. Like be able to walk up to the corner where he might have see a fighter. Okay, I didn't like what I seen. So as a doctor, I'm going to walk to the corner without having to get the quote unquote signal, you know what I'm saying, for the relief picture type of shit. You know what I'm saying?
You know where you're gonna have a problem with that at? What if you find out?
I know we're gonna have a problem. I'm speaking logically. You know.
I'm about to give you an example you can appreciate. What if that doc got $50,000 on the fighter he getting ready to call it on?
No, but he shouldn't be allowed to do that.
That's my point.
No. But if he's following this guy here and he's betting on boxing and got a six fight parlay, he got a 6 fight parlay. Fucking with this nigga.
I'm not betting on no fight. I'm contractually involved,
bro. If you're a doctor, judge, or ref, you should not be betting on fights, bro.
Bro, we just had a football player get suspended for almost a whole season. He got suspended for like 10 weeks or something like that because he was betting on football games. He's a fucking player. I wouldn't put it past.
That happened.
Listen, hold on.
Listen, what you're saying, Jeff. But that's what I mean. Like that Hippocratic oath is supposed to be something that's, it's one of the most serious oaths that you could take as a human.
That would be too much. That'd be too much power. That'd be too much power. So think about it, bro. If that's the case, these judges get paid off, right? We all know that. These judges get paid off. But if a doctor had the power to actually get up and stop the fight without the ref, bro, man, it'd be Dr. Smooth from 12th Street. The promoter getting any and everybody coming in, bro. Are you serious?
That nigga could be a motherfucking toe doctor.
But look. I give you an example. Look at Lennox Lewis and Vitaly Klitschko. The doctor stops that fight. Vitaly Klitschko's up on the cards.
Yeah, but I think it was a legit stoppage, though.
No, but I'm just saying it was only facial damage.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, bro. Mike says some states say ref or doc. Some say referee only. Yeah, it depends on the state. T. Finney in the building, man. Salute to the team. Big shout out to Shane for bringing me on the live coverage. I'm glad Rosario is retiring. He said because fighters be putting barbecue sauce on them ribs, bro.
I mean that live was good, man.
Bro, that big shout out to Shane and T Finney for that, man. Finney, they be putting them Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce on Rosario's ribs, man. I don't know what's in his guts right now, man. You tickle his belly and he gonna fall to the floor, man. Like for real.
I missed that one. What happened?
Oh, he got hit with another. He got hit with a Pillsbury Doughboy shot and fell, and then got caught with a perfect uppercut and was scrambling around the ring. But he was scrambling around the ring like he had a brain bleed. You know what I mean?
He got knocked out.
He got knocked out.
Yeah.
He got knocked out. Yeah.
Mike
Johnson.
Rosario.
I didn't take that fight because I didn't like him going up the middleweight.
Yeah,
I did not bet that fight. I didn't know much about the dude he was fighting, but it was because him going up the middleweight and just the way he looked in the last couple fights, I just didn't fuck with him.
Yeah,
but he had beat up a couple corner store workers back down in the Dominican Republic, so I guess they felt like he was ready for television again.
He was working in the deli.
Man, yeah, he beat up a couple patrons. Yeah, so they was like, "Oh yeah, he ready for TV again." No, he's not. No, he's not.
Oh man, Mike Johnson said Breland and Kenny did what they thought they had to do, but what Kenny said after stopping the fight was lame. That had nothing to do with safety. And see that was lame. That was a bad example. Like that type of a stoppage.
Okay, now this is what I wanted to get into with y'all real quick. So you telling me if a corner in that situation being a dad, now that's a dad, know his son done been dropped, losing on the cards, 3-4 rounds left, ain't got a chance in hell because he know his son don't have a punching power.
Vlog,
so him
I need you to listen. I need you to listen real quick. Shane, explain what that man said after the fight.
So
no, I ain't talking about what he said. I'm talking about what he said. In that scenario,
what he said after the fight.
You're right, Blunt. I was firmly with you, bro. Because I remember saying the same thing to Jeff. Because I was where you're standing right now. I was standing. I was saying, bro, that's his son. He doesn't want to see his son lose, and all of that. And I agree, bro. He knows his son has no chance of winning, etc. But then when Jeff explained to me, because I actually didn't listen to the post-fight interview straight away, when Jeff explained to me what he said after, it meant that the grounds for him throwing in the towel wasn't anything to do with health and safety. The nigga said he only done this because Sean Porter wasn't listening to him. So it was a form of punishment. He threw in the towel to punish his son, like his son is 12, bro.
Okay, hold up. Again,
I want to hear this. Go ahead, Vlog.
Hold on. Let me spit. I'm probably way too logical. But isn't that a form of this dude can't win?
I can't.
If you're not listening to the way, hold on. Let me saute real quick. I'm gonna melt the butter real quick. If you're not listening to the way I'm telling you, we have to fight to win. You're telling me that you can't win. So I might need to be holding on to this towel overhand and really get a nice little 30-yard chunk downfield with this bitch.
Hey, watch this. Watch this, Shane. Watch this mic drop real quick.
No, it's not a mic drop situation. I'm just asking, doesn't that support that to a certain extent?
Bro, watch this. Watch this, Shane. Bro, if that scenario is on one of your parlay tickets, are you saying the same thing?
You ain't shit. Don't put me in it. I'm just asking from a perspective outsider's view, just chiming in with things that, you know what I'm saying, roll the conversation along. I'm just asking. I'm just asking, bro. I don't know.
You know what it's like, bro. You know what it's like, bro. Like, I don't know. It's like you're coaching your son to play basketball or NFL or something. You're coaching him to play the sport, and he just ain't playing it the way he should be playing it. So you know what? You just confiscate and say, you know what? You ain't playing no more, bro. Because until you can play this right, you ain't gonna be playing no more. And that's basically what he done. But the issue is this is a man. You're stopping a man from fighting, not because you think he can't win, not because he's taking a sustained beating, but because he just ain't listening to your instructions. That isn't how boxing works.
Right. Let me get in these comments real quick, fellas. Mike Stanton said the trainer's primary job is to protect the fighter's best interest. I'd rather stop the fight and we fight another day. No, I agree with that. Mike Johnson said, no, saying y'all risk your lives in the same sentence. He's saying boxing needs to take care of fighters money wise.
Boxers
Okay,
need,
he's talking about Wilder. He's talking about Wilder. So I know the comments that you're talking about, Mike, and I think he was kind of balancing the two. He was talking about money, but I'm gonna tell you where he was talking about the physical part too, because he brought up Pritchard Cologne, and he didn't know who Pritchard Cologne was. He just knew of his situation, so he kind of mixed both situations, but it's two separate conversations though. It's two separate conversations for sure, but that's something that I would love to talk to Wilder about more extensive. You know what I'm saying? That's a tennis conversation. You got to slap the rock back and forth to have one person dominating the conversation. There's so many. You see how Shane got questions, I got questions, Mike, you got questions, Vlog got questions. That's the topic where it's like you really got to debate that from a couple different angles. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just gonna lead to deeper talk. It's gonna lead to deeper talk at the end of the day. Mike Stanton said Kenny and Sean's situation was more personal. Sean was still game to go, but Kenny stopped that fight to show Sean that as the trainer, he's in charge. So, but that goes to what Blunt was saying. That goes to what Blunt was saying. You know what I mean? Mike Johnson said it's not what did Wilder say in the same sentence when he talking about fighters risking their lives? He talks about bad contracts, money, cheaters, etc., not throwing in the towel. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he mixed all of that in. Including money. Like he talked about the whole scope, and that's really talking about just boxing in its totality, because there's positives, there's negatives, there's bad business, good stoppages, bad stoppages. He's really bringing it like it's a whole melting pot. Chris G, have you all touched on Benavidez versus Plant?
Nope.
Not yet. We Nathan Carey in the building. Big shout out to Nate. Said Shane wearing the hood reminds me of Danny Williams in his post-fight loss interview against San and Samir Stam. Damn, you went back, bro. Damn, you went back.
This is part I'm waiting for.
Trivia question of the day. Referee David Fields was a sparring partner for what former undisputed middleweight world champion? Now I'm not gonna lie, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I gotta Google David Fields.
I'm going to go Bernard Hopkins.
Hold on. I gotta see David Fields' face because it's not popping up in my head at the moment.
I'm going Bernard Hopkins because I'm thinking to myself, listen to my logic. Undisputed middleweight champion. How many undisputed middleweight champions have we actually had?
Oh, I see his face. I'm going with B-Hop, yo.
Because how much middleweight champions have we actually had? Unless we're going as far back as one as Marvin Hagler, but that's the only two middleweight undisputed champions I can think of.
Ooh, hold on.
One of those two. It has to be one of those two.
All right, I'm gonna go Hagler.
Wait, was Jermaine Taylor was super middleweight, correct?
Yeah, I don't think it was Jermaine Taylor though.
He was super middleweight undisputed.
No, he was
super middleweight.
He was middleweight undisputed.
Super middleweight for middleweight.
He was middleweight undisputed, right? He was.
Are you sure, or was he super middleweight?
I don't remember him being undisputed.
He was middleweight.
Middleweight, right?
You got me on mute.
It was middleweight.
My bad. Go ahead.
So it could
middleweight.
Yeah, it was 160, right?
Because I
Yeah.
know Bernard was 60. Bernard was 60.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm-
Kelly Pavlik took the middweight title from.
right.
Yeah,
From Jermaine.
You're right. So
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm going Hagler.
Marvelous. You're going marvelous.
I'm going Hagler, bro. What you got, vlog?
I don't know who dude is. So
That's why I had to Google. Yo, bro, as soon as you Google his face, you gonna know who he is.
But I'm doing this without Google. I'm going straight off the strength of I know all the last 3 middleweight champions, undisputed champions: Jermaine Taylor, Bernard Hopkins, Marvin Hagler. So it has to be one of those 3. So, unless there was another one in the 90s, but in the 90s there were quite a few champions, and I don't remember one person holding the middleweight title. All 3 belts, or all 3 belts at the time. So I'm naturally thinking I'm gonna go Hagler as well. But I did say Bernard Hopkins though.
Are we in agreement, vlog? You jumping in with Hagler with us?
Mike Staten, give us the answer. I'm going Hagler.
Nah, I'll go Hagler.
We going Hagler, bro.
Oh, y'all going? I'll go Bernard Hopkins.
You going B-Hop? All right, vlog going B-Hop. Me and Shane going Marvin Hagler, man. Mike Staten, drum roll. Give us the answer, brother. T. Finney, live coverage with Shane inspired me to go live and cover Morrell, Ados, and Rosario versus Mendoza. I'm definitely going to start doing that for my channel. I
love commentary. I see myself as a really good commentator. So
yeah, bro. We've had the biggest moments on this channel, going live for fights and commentating. You know what I'm saying?
I've held a 12 round myself.
Mike Johnson said, "Vlog said I need my money." That's a fact. He said boxing take care of Richard. But see, that's the thing. But see, this is why I say it as a whole melting pot. Like, it's a whole melting pot. Chris G said, part of me when boxers say they're risking their lives, and that's why they won't fight until they get a 7 or 8 figure check. You don't see guys working on roofs, risking their lives every day. So, Chris, let me explain something to you.
Put Blunt on mute when you're not speaking.
Yeah, I got you. And I don't know why. I don't know. Like, Blunt been good. Like, his joint been straight. I don't know. Hold on, real quick. Bro, you in the garage, bro?
Yeah.
You in the garage, and he hasn't moved. No, he hasn't moved. It's
the echo, bro.
It's the echo, yeah.
Disgusting echo.
Yeah. So Chris G, here's the situation, bro. Like, I would say probably, Shane, do you agree with this? I would say probably a good 70% of fighters are not full-time boxers. Would you agree with that?
That's a safe mark. 70 to 65%.
Would you agree with that, Blunt? 80?
High 80.
That's high, but
fair enough. So Chris, when you say that, bro, 65 to 80% of these fighters are not full-time fighters. They have regular jobs, things like that. So a lot of times when we evaluate these fighters and these B-side opponents and things like that, these are like part-time workers. You know what I'm saying? So, and not everybody gets the opportunity to quit their job and work boxing full time. A lot of these boxers, they actually, especially guys coming out of the Olympics, they get a big chunk up front. They get a big chunk up front. Not everybody has that opportunity. I mean, shit, we got fighters that fight in Philly. Their checks be like $2,000. What you gonna pay with that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what you gonna pay with that?
The coaches taking 200.
Yeah, all right. Then the taxes and everything else.
And then
Your
if you
camp, you got to pay sparring partners,
your camp, like,
transportation, everything. You got to pay for flipping boxing shorts, boxing gloves. I mean,
it's 70%, and 70% of the boxers don't even see 70 to 80% of the boxers in the game don't see a 6-figure check. You know what I'm saying? 70, 80%, man. So it's he said for a 7 or 8-figure check. Part of me gets mad. Chris, we gonna have to talk off camera because I think you have a idea of how much boxers actually make on a lower scale, and your number's too high. I know dudes that fought on cars for $400, $500. I got you, bro. Hold on. Cook up, bro.
Televised fighters, I'm asking, I'm spitballing. I would like to know.
Come closer to the mic, bro.
I would like to know what a baseline figure is. Like, let's say fighters that we don't know, seen before, but they make cards.
Give me an example of a card.
The prospect card the last week. Any one of them dudes, like take that Lavalas fight, Troy, Box Boy Troy. What is Lavalas making in information? He's on TV. Obviously, he's a journeyman. But what is that like? The fight that he's seeking, and is that value in a boxer's career? That guy to be beat up on and lose to? I mean, you know what I mean? Get a win against? Like, I don't know. Like, what do you think he made for that fight? It's 160.
You might have changed locations, bro. You sounded like Marvin the Martian.
You sounding real fucked up to me,
Yeah.
bro. I
but
couldn't make
to
out
answer your question,
you said, bro.
I understood what he said. Like, to answer your question, bro. I know Top Rank when COVID hit and they had the bubble. They were having fight cards on TV where all their guys was making 10K and up. Even the low level dudes was making 10K and up.
So the benefit that you have, let's say someone like a Top Rank, Dmitry, PBC, is that the network will give them a certain amount of slots a year. So let's say they give them 30 slots a year, 50. Someone like Eddie Hearn. This is why Eddie Hearn is always going into different markets, because he understands that the more slots he can fill, they already get paid for those slots. So let's say a slot is worth 300,000. I'm going to give you 300,000 for this slot. And then that's how much the network is giving him to fill that slot. So look at it like this, bro. If me and you ran a station, me and you ran G5 Jeff TV, bro, and Jeff ran 6 lives a week or 5 lives a week, for example, and me and you wanted to do a show, Jeff would give us, let's say, $20 to do that show. Now the cost of that show is still going to remain the same throughout the entire year. So that promoter doesn't have to worry about money per se, because that money's already been covered, because I've given you this slot at a certain rate. Now everything else after that, obviously selling tickets, etc., that's all bonus. So the fighter's purse is coming out of the amount of money that television company would have given them up front for that slot. Now, if you're unlucky where you don't have a television deal, where you have to work on a fight-by-fight basis, someone like a Lou DiBella, Salita, etc., who has to actually go to a network and work on specific shows separately, Kalisauerlin, etc., then it's difficult to gauge how much those fighters get, because they have to negotiate their deal based on the fight itself, and more often than not that standpoint is going to be lower than someone on a PBC Matchroom Top Rank. Does that make sense?
I got you. I'm with you. I just wanted to know, a spitball, but kind of a round number with those type of guys look to make, because a lot of them guys don't look like they trying to get out of that role. So I figured money must be happy because some of them guys we've seen against 2-3 of these prospects already. You know what I mean? So I was just asking.
Okay. Let me run through these comments real quick because they getting it's crazy because we not yeah, I say that's the only other thing we're gonna be able to get into today. Chris G said that's why I don't use bro.
Get up out of here, bro. I'm gonna slide out this side door, bro. I'm extra tired, man. Enjoy chopping game, fellas, man. Y'all be back. I'm gonna talk to y'all soon.
All right, bro. That was Boxing First Vlog, man, aka Marvin the Martian. That was on the joint. Chris G said that's why I don't use fighters risking their lives as an excuse for refusing to fight for pay.
You have to elaborate. I don't know what you mean.
Yeah, you gotta get a little deeper on that. He said, I just don't think it's a valid excuse to not fight. Hey, Chris, that's too loaded of a statement. Like, so I give you an example, right? So a friend of mine and Shane, like he's a manager as well. And he had a couple of fighters that got an offer for top rank for a top rank card during the bubble. And they tried to offer him it was basically 40% less than what they was offering the minimum guy on the card. So he turned it down. Even though the number was still a good number, it was 40% less than the most least earning guy on the card. So in a situation like that, it's kind of like you gotta have some type of principles as well, because you might take that deal, but
the thing you gotta understand is, and I think one person who's understood it very well is the Derek Chisora, and the greatest ability is availability. A promoter wants to know that when they call your phone, you're gonna answer that phone, and that is the facts.
So I'll give you an example, bro, to follow up.
Like, what's my dude's name? The dude you were talking, Rosado.
Rosado. Availability. Emmanuel Augustus. Availability. Darnell Boone. Availability. Derek Chisora. Availability. You understand what I'm saying? Like, these dudes are always available. You know what I mean? So Shane, that's a great point. Mike Statney said Marvelous Marvin Hagler from 1977 to 87. Hagler was a
I'm good, bro.
Yeah, and the key word was undisputed. I had to see his face. Once I seen his face, I was just like, he might have been refereeing on Bernard
Hopkins was fighting.
Exactly.
I've never seen a nigga's face, so I wasn't able to.
No, if you Google him, that's great. I just wanted to see, because as soon as I heard undisputed, I'm thinking the same three names. And I'm like, let me see his face and see.
But they fought in two different eras. So it's about what era would this dude have fought in? And I didn't see him. You saw it, you was able to see him. So that's why
and on top of that, what made that question kind of tricky? Because they consider dudes undisputed because the WBO wasn't recognized.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Mike, that was a good one though. He said Benny Briscoe was a top middleweight contender who maintained his job as a city sanitation worker his entire career. Facts. I'll give you another example. Yeah, I'll give you another example. Brian Baba Jennings. He worked at the he worked at the Federal Bank maybe 5 minutes from where I work at right now. And that was right up until the he didn't start boxing full time until the Luis Ortiz fight.
Was that after the Klitschko fight or before the Klitschko fight?
Before the Klitschko fight.
Before
Klitschko after.
I mean, look at Joe Swift Jr. The nigga was with a hard hat.
Yeah, he had a hard hat. He was putting in the wiring for your building. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For sure. T. Finney said, I remember when Seth Mitchell fought Chaz Witherspoon, it was mentioned how they were two educated guys fighting each other. Neither of them box now, but it's good they had backup plans. Like, Seth Mitchell had one of the he was the original. You know how people joke around about Amir Khan's chin? Like Seth Mitchell was the original, like Amir Khan. You know what I'm saying? T Finney, well, I could be wrong about Witherspoon. Fair enough. Chris G, I meant for people specifically for mid six figures to 8-figure fighters. But hey, Chris, though, but you gotta, you are what you negotiate. You know what I'm saying? So it's like if somebody's offering you 100,000, that's for Shane and I. We like, yo, the zone can call us right now and be like, bro, we gonna offer you 150K to do some work. Boom, 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 boom. Me and Shane on the first flight smoking. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like we on the first flight smoking. But that's a different story. If Shane and I were paid 600,000 by another company, we're not gonna take that 150. You feel what I'm saying? So it's not that simple. Chris G said, like they won't take 1.5 million to fight someone good because they made 1 million fighting a bum. Okay, so that's the PBC thing. That's the PBC thing. But that's like, so that's like if a person, but PBC is they're guilty of that though. They get the first like 2 years of their existence, they gave us every single fight for free. And now they turned around and now they're charging us for Luis Ortiz, Charles Martin. You understand what I'm saying?
You know,
So
that's just boxing. You know, that's just boxing. You know,
yeah, you know what I'm
people need
saying?
to make money.
Yeah, and that's what it is. Chris said, bro, I may have to talk to you later about this. Sorry. No, we good. We good. We straight. But we gotta get into this Bivol thing. We ain't gonna be on here too much longer. We just gonna touch on it real quick and then we can get on Bivol and we can do a full scope tomorrow. But Bivol, masterful performance against Zerto Ramirez, man. And listen, I don't really like the brag. Shane don't like to brag, but when it comes down to breaking down film, I feel like we're two of the best in the business at actually breaking down film and recognizing what a fighter needs to do and what they don't need to do to win a fight. And for two people that are technically not in the sport in terms of coaches, I feel like Shane and I have broken down enough fights on this camera to where y'all know we're very good at it. And it's crazy. You know what I mean? It's absolutely crazy, man. Shane, just explain what you seen in the fight with Bivol and Zerto.
I mean, I'll tell you the things that I expected, and then I'll tell you the things I didn't expect. So I expected there to be a massive disparity in terms of punch speed. I expected that Bivol win the battle of the footwork, get the right foot on the outside. I was telling the dudes on the live that look at Bivol's feet. You know, he's stepping on Zerdo's right foot. You know, he was doing the right things, getting his foot in the right place. You know, I expected him to just win the battle of the footwork, and I expected Zerdo to struggle with his foot placement, you know, and where he placed his feet. It wasn't so much about foot speed, because if you place your feet in the right place, sometimes you don't have to worry about your feet in transition. Especially someone like Bivol, who's always bouncing, you know, from front foot to back foot, front foot to back foot. So I expected that. I expected Bivol to cruise the middle rounds. That's what he does against every fighter. You know, I've watched every Bivol fight, so I expected that. What I didn't expect was Bivol to take center ring so easily. What I didn't expect was Zerdo to start the fight so circumspect. You know, he didn't let his hands go. I've seen Zerdo fight several times. I've seen him fight Vlasov. What's my dude's name? Dude from Philly, fought twice.
Jesse
Hart. I've seen him fight Tommy Carpensi, Abraham,
got a lot of film on him.
Sullivan, but I've seen him fight so many times.
Yeah.
In short, and I've seen, generally speaking, he's a dude who likes to take center ring and let his hands go. I compare him to like a light heavyweight Brandon Figueroa. You know, dude who likes to smother his work. He's tall, very wiry, and likes to get in the pocket and let his hands go. I didn't see that. I don't know why I didn't see that, and that was what was confusing me. because the one thing me and Jeff said was, if you let Bivol get into a rhythm, we said that
That's
before the
correct.
fight, you can't get
Correct.
him out of that rhythm.
That's
You know,
correct.
if Bivol was up after 5 rounds, the fight's over, because 6, 7, 8, 9, you know, you're swimming against the current right now, literally. So I expected Zerdo to be a little bit more effective in the beginning rounds, you know, and at some point Bivol to make the adjustments. But Zerdo just wasn't aggressive. You know, he just didn't apply the pressure that I thought he would. And I wouldn't even say that it was something that Bivol done, because if you look at the first, let's say, 10 seconds of the fight, Bivol just ran center ring. Zerdo took steps back before he took steps forward. And for me, that just, you know, he literally, I don't know what he was trying to do. It does. Jeff brought up a point of Liam Williams when he fought
Eubank.
Eubank. You know, you're just trying to do something different. And I'm just wondering why you're just, you know, you're almost throwing out the baby with the bathwater. You know, you did, this is your style of fighting. I can see you're trying to make adjustments, though, but don't get rid of the things that you do well. You know, and
Yeah.
that
And
was the part that was confusing for me.
yeah, watching the fight, I felt like Zerto had two choices. He was going to figure Bivol out with his hands flying, or he was going to figure Bivol out with his hands in his pocket, and he chose the latter. And the thing is, we never seen that from Zerto. We never seen him with his hands in his pocket. And I said before the fight that I said, pay attention to the punch stats. I said, if Bivol can have Zerto fight, throw 10 to 15 less punches around than what he averages, he's going to mop him. And that's pretty much what happened. Like he kept his pocket, he kept his hands in his pocket way more than
I never want to question a man's will to win. I never want to do that. But
he was discouraged.
I
Let's say
don't
that.
know how much the dude wanted to win with that game plan. I don't know who formulated that game plan, but I don't know how you think that boxing off the back foot you would stand any chance against someone as skilled as Bivol.
Hey, bro, and this is why I be saying a lot of these coaches and their game plans be trash, bro. Because we said in the first Usyk AJ fight, why are you sitting up there trying to outbox the master boxer? It's not going to work. You're not going to outbox Bivol. You're not going to outbox Bivol. And I think he went into the fight, and I said this, and we didn't know about these things when we were talking about this before the fight happened. I said on camera, I said, yo, I said one of the keys to the I said one of the keys to the fight is who's going to take the center of the ring. And I said, it don't sound like much, but who's going to take the center of the ring is going to say a lot. Bivol came right out, took the center of the ring. Then with Zerto, one thing that I didn't like, he was just like, yo, Bivol has no flaws. Now, I didn't know that he was going to come into the fight and fight like Bivol had no flaws. Like he fought like he honestly believed that, and he was afraid to pull the trigger.
You know what? Yeah, I when we spoke about this earlier, I almost looked over that statement. Now that statement is so important because I'll tell you exactly who he fought like. Do you I'm trying to remember this fight. Bear with me. Give me a second. Oh, bro, like, you know that when the statement of Bivol has no flaws, you know, it's almost like you're in awe of your opponent. This is the fight I was going to tell you. You remember when Lomachenko fought Anthony Crolla?
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember everybody talking about how good Lomachenko was. And Anthony Crolla is known for just having wars. You know, just going in there and just trying to let his hands go. And I remember watching that fight, and after the first pivot, you could see that Anthony Crolla was just a fan of this dude. He was literally just a fan of this dude. And I'm not saying that Zerdo was, but I don't know if Zerdo just was almost mesmerized. Because to me, I can't logically think of why you wouldn't go in there and just let your hands go. They've sparred before, so I'm assuming it must have something to do with the sparring. But at first, maybe it's something like I thought maybe it had something to do with the weight. Maybe he's struggling to make weight and he didn't trust his gas tank. I've seen that happen a few times with fighters. You know, they don't trust their gas tank, so they keep their hands in. Like, you know, when Lyndon Arthur fought Anthony Yard, and for the most part, Yard just didn't let his hands go. And you're just thinking, why is this dude not letting his hands go? Maybe he just didn't trust his gas tank, etc. I'm wondering if it's one of those cases where this dude didn't trust his gas tank. There's so many things, but I just don't know why you would do this. It just wasn't the right game plan to do. And it's annoying because everybody knows how much Bivol is one of the fighters that I really endorse. But I'm struggling to give him credit because Zerdo was just so trash. Like, literally, it was a C- performance, bro.
I think the performance, like, Bivol didn't get much resistance. Let me just say that. He didn't get much resistance. And what I mean by that is Zerdo didn't throw his hands and try to figure things out. Bivol got to a point to where he knew he could get his shots off and he didn't have to take no more than a full step back and he would be okay. Or that count, you know what else we call, Shane? That counter with the hard jab. You've seen a lot of that. You've seen a lot of that in that fight. And Zerdo, I think just really to sum it up, bro, I think a fighter or any athlete, if you lose, you got to look in the mirror and ask yourself, did I do everything that I needed to do to win that fight? Zerdo's kicking himself right now. He's kicking himself right now because that wasn't Zerdo. Credit to Bivol. I ain't taking nothing away from Bivol. I'm not taking nothing away from Bivol. But Zerdo, we know how Zerdo fight. That wasn't Zerdo. And I don't know if it was the camp. I don't know if he was overthinking. I don't know if he was worried about the gas tank. I don't know what it was. It might have been a combination of all of those things. At the end of the day, he can't honestly answer himself in the mirror and say, I went in there and I did what Zerdo does.
Facts.
And I think that's the best way I can really sum it up. But I'm not going to sit up here and say Bivol beat the best version of Zerdo. I don't know what that was from Zerdo.
I mean, I personally feel like Zerdo didn't feel like his natural style can win that fight. That's what I believe. Regardless of what the reason is, one thing we can definitely agree on and conclude is that Zerdo did not believe that version of himself that normally fights will beat Bivol.
Agreed 100%. Let's get in these comments real quick and wrap this thing up. T Finney said, Mitchell Chen was horrible. He's from Maryland, and I didn't recall him mentioning retirement after the Areola KO. He was deemed to be one of the best heavyweights, but had a glass chin. So, T Finney,
I don't know if he was redeemed to be as one of the best heavyweights. I don't know about all of that, but
I will say this though: HBO was really promoting him hard
to be one of the best heavyweights.
No, they was promoting him just in terms of being an attraction on HBO because he's a former football player, all this and all that, and they was really promoting him. And it was around that time when they were HBO had some real interesting choices in who they were actually trying to, like really promote. They were really exploring what would work and what wouldn't. So they tried to promote the ex-football player.
I can't wait to answer YSN's next comment.
I got you. Take James Kirkland. James Kirkland, they put a bag behind him and really tried to promote him.
Talked about Kirkland.
You know what I'm saying? But they really try to put usually, and the reason I mention Kirkland all the time, bro, is because a company usually doesn't put a machine behind somebody like that with that type of background. But then when you look at him in the ring, James Kirkland had no skill Like, let's keep it clear. Like, he had no skill. You know what I mean? But they tried to promote him. YSM Sports Media, big shout out to you, bro. He said, only way to stop this is to have one giant organization with a big TV deal. Is this the one you want to get at, Shane?
Yep. I 1,000,000% disagree. I cannot disagree more. I swear to God, YSM, I respect everything you say. But I have this narrative, and I could be wrong with this narrative. I swear to God, bro. There's this epiphany that hit me, bro, and I remember it hitting me. If you go into my Instagram, one of the first posts on my Instagram, there's an article that I wrote. One of the first published articles that I've ever done. It's called Battle of the Broadcasters, and this was when PBC just done their deal with Fox. ESPN Plus just launched. The Zone just launched with Eddie Hearn, and there was a few internal. Frank Warren just got his deal with BT Sports, etc. And I said at that time that these broadcasters are going to battle and position themselves to stay alive because HBO just left. And I said, what we're going to get out of this is a lot of people providing a lot of boxing because they're just trying to compete for positions. Because at this, it's like, when a politician is going up for election, they just putting all of these things on offer, and it's fantastic for fans. I feel like the worst thing to happen for boxing, and I swear to God, the worst thing to happen for boxing is for us to have one promotional company running the entire sport. Sorry, am I still there? Yeah, one promotional company running the entire sport and one television broadcasting company running the entire sport. I think that would be the worst thing for boxing because I feel like when you have these broadcasting companies competing with each other, and I know we get a lot of failed negotiations, and I hear you when we say that, but what ends up happening is when a company sets a certain standard, every other company now has to be on that standard to compete. If not, they're going to get left behind. And for me, that's what boxing needs. Boxing needs competition. Boxing doesn't need a monopoly or a situation with UFC where there's one dude just monopolize the entire sport and there's no control for fighters with free agency, none of that. And what ends up happening is fighters' purses start to get lower because there's no bidding. Remember, bro, if you had one television company, there's no purse bids. There's no career high paydays. You're getting given what I tell you to take because you have no other person to turn to. You see my point? And I feel the worst thing that can happen for boxing is one television company and one organization. I firmly believe that we need the broadcasters to battle it out. And if one broadcaster does well, it forces the other broadcaster company to do good as well. If not, you're going to fall behind.
Yeah, competition. And to be honest with you, that was PBC. That was Al Heyman's initial goal when PBC first came out. And I don't know I don't know if that's where you were going with it, but Al Heyman wanted to monopolize the sport where basically everything ran through him, everything ran through PBC, Top Rank and everything else. And it was a lofty goal, but it was just impossible to achieve at the end of the day. Now, Shane, I agree with you in the sense that it has to be competition. It has to be competition because number one, like I said, is the reason why the UFC is so big in terms of the sport and the company, but the MMA fighters are getting low pay is because
They
that
have
you have
nowhere to
other
go to.
like there's other companies, there's smaller companies, but those smaller companies don't have the backing. Then on top of that, UFC is so big that when a smaller company started making some traction,
UFC will just buy them.
Facts.
They'll just buy them. So you have to have the competition in place in order for it to be growth. Now I'll give you an example. And why some of it, it's a good. I'm glad you put this out here because there's many that believe that. So the reason why MMA fighters don't make the amount of money that boxers make is for this one reason. MMA fighters, number one, had nowhere else to go, which leads to number two, they can't draw a line in the sand and say, hey, give me this or I'm going here. Okay, so I'll give you an example. Let's take Floyd. Al, and a lot of people don't like to admit this about Al. You don't get to where Al is right now being a honest businessman.
Facts.
You don't get to where Al is and you're giving out legit numbers. Just, I don't care what color his skin is. He operates no different than Bob Arum.
To catch a wolf, you gotta be a wolf, bro.
You gotta be a wolf. And it's all one and the same. It's all one and the same, but just people try to look past it because the color of Al Heyman's skin. I get it. So I'm gonna tell you a boxing reason why one large company is not gonna work. So let's just say HBO was the large company, right? And this is when Al Heyman was using Golden Boy as the primary promoter. When it came time for HBO to re-up with Floyd didn't want to sign that deal. He didn't want to sign that deal. So Shane, what'd he do? He went over to Showtime. 6 fights, $250 million. If he doesn't sign that 6-fight, $250 million deal, we don't have a Pacquiao fight. We don't know where Floyd's career is. But the reason he was able to do that is because there was competition. You had HBO, you had Showtime. He had options. It's no different than you having a job. If you had one large company for one industry, nobody can say, hey, I want to raise or I'm going over to this company. There is no other company.
Regardless of, and I'll put it this way, bro. Do you think it's a coincidence that Wilder's purses just increased around about the time that the Zone offered him 100 million?
Absolutely.
Whilst he didn't take it, and I think he was right not to take the 100 million. It's not a coincidence that all of a sudden this dude started to get some ridiculously high purses. You got competition.
And it's leverage,
bro.
Right? And it's like you have it's leverage at the end of the day, and that's the most important thing. Let's go. I really didn't want to go here, but I feel like I need to go here because it's going to drive home the point, and then we can run through the rest of these. Get up out of here. Take the Spence Crawford situation, right? A lot of people are like, yo, you either Spence or you're Crawford, but if you actually look at it, this is simple math. And I've never said this on camera, but I'm going to say it right now. So you got 3 big rumors going around as far as that situation. So the first big rumor is basically Crawford wanted $22 million, right? They talked him down to $15 million. He turned down $15 million to take a $10 million Avanesian fight, right? So I'm looking at common sense and simple math. So they agreed to terms, correct, Shane? They agreed to terms, 65-35 split. I ain't no mathematician, but I do know if Crawford had an official offer from Al Heyman for $15 million, that means Spence had an offer of at least 30 to 35. Now, let me ask you this question. When is the last non-heavyweight, not named Floyd Mayweather, got $30 to $35 million from Al Heyman for one fight?
Canelo.
Not with Al Heyman. No, with Al Heyman. Actual Al Heyman guy.
Canelo.
Canelo wasn't an Al Heyman guy.
You said for a one-off fight with Al Heyman.
Okay, so Al Heyman guy, Al Heyman sign fighter.
Outside of Wilder, nobody.
Yeah, but I said non-heavyweight,
That's what I said.
non-heavyweight,
Outside,
not
yeah,
name.
outside
Yeah,
of Wilder, no one.
nobody. Okay, right. So that takes that rumor and just that parks it, right? So then you got what was the second rumor? Terrence Crawford 35% of a
No
non-guaranteed
guarantee.
number. And this is why, and I'm glad Wyatt Simmons in here because he put up a post of Roy Jones and James Toney. They both turned down guaranteed money to take a 55-45 split. Let me run with this one. Shane, name me a fight of a huge magnitude where one guy took a percentage and one guy took a guarantee.
One guy took a percentage and one guy took a guarantee.
Of that magnitude, of a huge fight.
Mm.
Can't think of one.
A huge fight. I can think of fights, obviously, but a huge fight.
A huge fight.
Most of them are percentage splits, bro.
It's either one or the other, right?
Yeah, most of these fights I'm thinking of are percentage splits.
They're either percentage based or both of them are getting a guarantee, right?
Yeah,
There's
most of the
never
time
been-
I'm thinking of fights like big fights, especially of recent,
Right. So
it's Golovkin, Canelo, Canelo Plant,
right.
any Canelo fight, there's either a guarantee or purse split.
Right. And that's the thing. And it goes back to the
same.
leverage. It goes back to the leverage. Right. We're talking about leverage. It goes back to the leverage. So if that's the topic and that's what we're talking about, I'm like, there's never been a huge fight where the B-side guy gets to take a percentage and the A-side guy just gets the flat rate.
But both there was obviously the offer that Terence Crawford said where they both got no flat rate, no guarantee and percentage.
Right. So it goes right back to my point. So if that's the case, so you're gambling on the fact that this joint gonna do numbers. So they also said that when Terrence Crawford was like, hey, I got an investor that's willing to give us $25 million a piece. What did he say in that comment? He said, bro, people ain't buying pay-per-views anyway.
Facts.
You understand what I'm saying? So it goes to my point, like when you have leverage, so when you have leverage, right? When you have leverage, that's why I was just like this whole Crawford Spence thing, this ain't about whose side you on. This is simple math. Bottom line is we don't know how many pay-per-views this thing sells. Listen, I don't think it does 500,000. I don't think it does 500,000. Now a month ago I said 700. I don't think this fight does 500,000.
The reason why I don't think it does 500,000 anymore is because the climate for boxing has changed. Correct. I can visibly see the reduction in pay-per-views with every fight.
And check this out, bro. What's Wilder's guarantee? About what you think? About 10
million, 50 million.
How many pay-per-views he sold last fight?
What, 70 something, 80 million, 80,000, sorry.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like, but people that say Terrence Crawford don't sell pay-per-views, but Terrence Crawford and Sean Porter did like $150, didn't he?
Yeah, 100 something.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, but it goes back to the leverage. It goes back to the leverage. So Terrence Crawford was able to get 10 million from a new company because it was competition.
That's why Eddie Hearn, as even though he's struggling right now, he's understood the game. That right now, the only way you're going to get guaranteed purses for big fights is site fees. If you want guaranteed purses for big fights, it's site fees only. You got to go to a country that's going to put up that money to sell the site, to sell the rights to the fight. That's the only way. He done it with in Saudi Arabia. He done it Abu Dhabi last week, and I guarantee he's gonna do it in other districts around the world. He's just gonna sell the site fees to different countries, kind of like what Don King done.
Yeah, let's run through these last few, bro, so we can get
Please,
about it.
I'm tired.
Hold on. Mike said, hold on. Chris G said, I know Shane gonna go against Benavidez in his fight against Plant.
No, I think Benavidez gonna win.
Yeah.
Next comment. Let's run through this. I'm so tired.
Mike Johnson said, Zerto let Bivol off. Agreed. YSM, it was more about what Zerto didn't do more than what Bivol did. You can make that claim for sure. Shabby game plan. That game plan was trash, bro. Benavidez stopped Zerto easily. I couldn't believe that Zerto didn't even try. Yeah, he kept his hands in his pocket. He said Zerto didn't sit on one punch. He was punching from his elbows. My guy Conrad in the building. What's going on, bro? Michael Johnson said if Crawford said folks ain't buying pay-per-views, who told him that? And why is it a percentage when usually it's y'all get X split from purse, then y'all split the pay-per-view? So Mike Johnson, that's you, and that's what I'm saying. Like, that's usually Al Heyman's formula. Both guys get a set amount, and then there's a percentage on the back end. So it's all the rumors is just completely different than usually how Al operates. And Mike Johnson said, Shane, get a damn coffee. Man, it's about, was it 9, 10, 11, 12, 1? It's about 1 o'clock out there in the UK, man. We appreciate it every time he jump on, man. But we're going to jump up off this joint, man. We're going to continue this tomorrow.
I don't drink coffee neither, bro.
We're going to continue this tomorrow, man. This was a good one. Hour 51 minutes strong. Big shout out to Boxing First Vlog, man. Shane, give me social media so we can get up out of here, good brother.
I'm Shane the number 1.
And I'm all over the place, man. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. G5 Jeff TV. Mike said Shane got that snuggie on. He definitely got that snug. That's that UK plush right there. I don't know.
Bro, I'll tell you this,
never mail me one.
I don't care what anyone says, bro. This is one of the most comfortable things I own, bro.
Oh man,
I could be a millionaire, bro. I don't care.
Rock one of those joints. I feel you, bro. Listen, man. On behalf of VP Shane, man, Boxing First Vlog, your boy G5 Jeff TV. We'll be back tomorrow just to continue on this because there's a lot of stuff we didn't get a chance to cover. But this is episode 142 of the Goodfellas podcast. We back with you tomorrow. Appreciate it.